Good morning, everyone. Happy Saturday. I'm still on my birthday celebration for my baby girl. But as you can see, Tammy is at school because we are getting ready to start our school year for our district with students on Monday. So we are happy to be live with you and talk about our topic today. While Tammy's doing introductions, I'm going to feed us through to some groups. Good morning, Tammy.
Good morning, Shika. Hi, everyone, and welcome, y'all. We have been so super busy these last few weeks. School is opening, so we are in the throes of making sure that we're ready to receive our kiddos on Monday. And I'm sure, just like us, being in the middle of getting prepared, many of you are doing the same kinds of things. So we say best wishes for a very wonderful start to your school year. And we know that this will be one of those times when you are encouraged and inspired to make this an epic year. Good morning. We see folks are joining us, and we're so excited to have you guys coming on. As Shika feeds us through, we just want to say that we are so excited by Principal Hurt's message this morning. We know that, and good morning. I just saw you pop in here, Principal Hurt. You, as always, brought fire. You did an incredible job, and it's so amazing to hear you talking about those things that need to be in place to make the school year and the work that the teams in schools do worthy of what we're going to see happen with our students. And that is moving that academic needle that you talk about all the time. So thank you for the inspiration. And I love what you were talking about with making sure that we are supporting all of our new teachers. And I talk about new being first year, that straight out of college thing that you're doing, fabuloso. We are really, really excited and would love to talk more with you about it. But even those folks that are in their first through their fifth years, we have to support them to make sure that we are providing them with what they need to be successful in our schools. And that's one of the things that we're going to be talking about today. What are we doing to keep those folks in our building? So spot on, Principal Hurd, and I'm glad to know that we are in sync, because we can say great minds, right? Think alike. Again, guys, welcome to the R.E.A.L Academy with Shika and Tammy. And as you know, if you have not joined us before, R.E.A.L is an acronym for the work that we do. The R.E.A.L acronym is a framework that we've created for schools that will help them to navigate through, or honestly, even to avoid state sanctioned school improvement status. And that acronym stands for respect, excellence, accountability, literacy, and leadership. We found ourselves in school improvement at one point and needed something to help to guide us, and there was no roadmap. So what we decided to do was to create one, and R.E.A.L is what we use to help us to move our schools 2 and 3 report card grades in a single year. And we've been experiencing phenomenal growth ever since that time. So if you're interested, please reach out to us. We are happy to share with you, because again, that framework encompasses lots of things from culture to leadership and even into literacy. So please let us know if you need anything. Again, if you aren't familiar with this, I just want to make sure that we make it clear that we are here because we feel like we're your problem solving educator leaders. And we want to provide real solutions to those problems that are faced in the arena of education right now, with parents, with leaders, with the community, with teachers. and with our kids every single day that we come into these spaces. We do this because we want to help and we want our work with leaders to matter. So if you're looking for help or if you need some support with leadership teams, reach out to Shika and I because that's something that we really truly do enjoy doing. And if you aren't familiar with us personally, I like to just take a second to introduce Shika, who is my co-founder of Create and Educate and my trust mate. She's the director of secondary interventions for our school district. She's also the avid district director for the district. She serves as a board of trustees member for the boys and girls, I'm sorry, the Girls on the Run for Tri County, as well as for MUSC, the hospital system here in our county. We are both contributing authors to Women Who Lead, thankfully, because of Dr. Sharon Porter. And she's also someone who has lived the experience. She's currently working in the arena of intervention. So that's another area that we really have a passion about, and Shika does an incredible job with. So I think this is enough talking so that we can get to what we want to share with you guys today. Shika, are you ready?
Yes, I am ready, Tammy, and thank you for the introductions. And Tammy always thinks that she's slick where she's skipping past her introduction. I'm going to introduce you to her as well. Um, Tammy, if you're not familiar with her, is the principal at Great Falls Elementary School. She's a blog contributor to the NWEA blog post. She's the vice president of South Carolina Education Association for Region 3. She's soon to be Dr. Tammy Taylor and is working very closely with Dr. Clenora Hudson Weems on she's using her framework of Africana womanism paradigm in her dissertation work, and she's a contributor to the new collection Africana Melanated Womanism in It Together, which is going to be released later this year. So, as she stated, we are trustmates and the co-founder of Create and Educate, and we don't tell you this information about ourselves or our backgrounds to brag or to boast. We really tell you because there are people that have certain expectations from people who are from certain zip codes. So things that we have been blessed to be able to do, we're not expected from two African American women coming from single parent homes in Chester, South Carolina, which is very small and rural. So we want to inspire young girls, young women who look up to us, our young males in our community and surrounding counties, and be those role models, not just to children, but also to the people that we're working with and serving in education as well. So, thank you all for joining us this morning. Several of you have chimed in, and we're going to get your comments listed. But, like Tammy said, our topic today is about retaining teachers. So this past summer, I was afforded the opportunity to sit in with some brave teachers that were new to the profession. This was their very first year of serving. Tammy, can you see the comments?
I can't, but I can turn this. Oh, I can use this other computer.
Okay. This was their very first year of teaching. So they were brave enough to sit on a panel and share their experiences, how their year went, what went well, what didn't go so well. And I say that they were brave because, for new teachers to be able to talk about these experiences in front of leaders from their district and also the personnel from the college, I thought it was just really good. And this information is important because leaders or educators that are serving 1 to 3 years in education, we're losing them at the fastest rate in education. So we need this information that they share to be able to retain our teachers. So I'm going to start with the positive things that they stated. One of the things was that for them, teaching was rewarding, and that was the whole reason why they were continuing after this first year of teaching. teaching is where their happy place was. They also named some other things that they were a part of that were extracurricular, like the step team. They really thought it taught them a lot about themselves. They really enjoyed the field trip. So one field trips that they, were a part of, one of our first tips as educators and as parents, we really have to do a good job of promoting the positive about our profession. A lot of times, that negative lens that the media sometimes portrays, because negativity, sells more papers. It also brings more people and chaos to tuning in when something bad is going on. Bad news, just for some reason, for whatever reason in our society, just tends to spread and catch on a little bit faster. So we have to be more intentional about making sure we're spreading those positive stories about our profession every chance that we get, explaining how happy we are to teach or be in education. That's why I love when Principal Kafele comes on and he says he's on fire, and my daughters are saying, "Who is that?" every Saturday, screaming about being on fire. But those are the stories that are needed, because it lets people know this is a great profession. We are happy about what we are doing. And I was really encouraged to see Mr. Vincent Taylor post on Twitter about what year he is in education. He's going, I think it was either 25th or 28th year of education, and I can't see because my screen is small. But 25,000 people liked it or commented on it. And I thought that was just so encouraging, because there are so many people in education who enjoy what they do. Year 28. Thank you, Josh. I need reading glasses. So, yes, we need to tell people that we love what we do. Education is a great profession. That's one of the things that will attract people to education. Did you have anything to add to that before I get to the challenges, Tammy?
Well, just that I think that this is incredible, and I do think that just like um, Mr. Taylor is posting and excited about what he's about to embark on for this coming school year, I think it takes us as leaders to energize our teachers so that they are excited and that they continue to have that excitement and passion that helps them to do the things that make the difference for kids. Because the bottom line is, to me, always going to come back to when you empower teachers to have impact and they know that that's what you're looking for and you are energized with them, I think it creates that synergy that you need in the building to make sure that everybody is passionate and everybody's excited about what happens. And I try at my own campus to make sure that we are writing our own narrative. Like the press does want to emphasize the bad press. When we went into school improvement, we had two front page stories in
Mm-hmm.
local newspapers. It was very demeaning and demoralizing. We've
Mm-hmm.
done some really big things since then. We've never had a front page spread about it.
Exactly.
So I think that you're right. I think it's what people want. People get energy or receive that excitement and exuberance from the wrong things sometimes.
You're exactly right, Tammy. And it is our job as leaders to make sure that energy, is present. So, what Principal Hurt talked about this morning, what you just stated, that is our responsibility as leaders, to keep that energy there, to keep that culture and community being built within our schools. So some of the challenges that the panel mentioned, of the new teachers that were speaking about their first year experience, and they talked from the lens of all the way from their internship through the first year. They said that being a first year teacher it was a lot of pressure. They needed help with pacing. They weren't really sure about sometimes, what to teach or when to teach it. So I know that having a mentor is something that we do in our district, but I think it goes beyond just having a mentor. As the leaders, we need to make sure that we're partnering the new teachers with the right people. Sometimes we just look at the list of who had the certification, who's qualified to be a mentor, or who wants the stipend. But if it's not someone from their area who can really guide them on things like their subject matter or their pacing, sometimes it's not really that helpful. So, as leaders, we have to make sure that we're also empowering. If we know that we have a certain person coming up in a certain area and somebody's not, ready to be a mentor, they haven't taken the training, we have to be proactive about getting them trained, getting them where they need to be so we can get the right mentors in place for our teachers. Because,
And I
like,
think that means what you just said. We have to be selective. Like, we don't just because we need, and this is what I think has happened. When we were back into that shortage for teachers, and we were bringing in 12 and 14 new teachers a year, you were pulling anybody you could to serve as a mentor. But I think we have to be very conscious of who we're choosing and select
right,
those people that are going to invest into these new teachers so that they are getting the motivation that they need and the inspiration that they need and seeing the behaviors you want to see in your teaching staff modeled by these people so that we can keep them.
exactly. One of the other things that, and as we're listing challenges, we're also telling you our tips. But if you have tips, please list them as well. We are always
Yes,
better together. We learn from each other.
definitely.
Um, they also talked about there being too many disruptions to the school day. Like, they mentioned one thing in particular was like staff basketball games and, things that take away from the learning. So, again, as the leaders, we do have to make sure we have positive behavior supports in place for our students and things that are going to make the school day fun for them and them to be engaged. But that has to be at a balance. It can't be, more of that that's taking away from essential learning, especially when there's a lot of growth that has to happen at a school. So those things are important to have for that community and engagement with the children and the students and those positive behavior supports. But we do have to do that, within a balance.
And don't you think that if you are framing that correctly, like if you help your new teachers to understand how that part of what you're doing is a part of what needs to happen in your building for culture building and for SEL and like all of those are aspects of learning. I think that helps. Like when you remove that pressure of you've got to get in here and you've got to get these results and you have to have this test score, you have to have this by the end of this particular period. We're looking at your benchmarks, we're looking at your assessment data, we're looking at your CFAs, we're looking at everything. So I think when we put perspective um, on what's truly important. And that is like academics is always the thing that should come first
Hmm.
in the school because that we're here to educate kids. But when we help them to see that we're here to educate the whole child, like
Right.
we're here for each kid, but we're here to empower that child totally, then
Exactly.
I think it makes them feel less pressure of missing class time because when the first year I came to be a principal, that was my mistake. I came from the district where like everything was all about business, and so I came in here with the mindset like we don't have an instructional minute to waste. So when they were
Hmm.
asking about like, are we gonna do fun Fridays? Like, what is that? No, we're not doing any fun Fridays. We're we don't have any time to waste. You saw your scores. We really have work we have to do. But I soon learned that a part of what Fun Friday is to create a culture in the school and a climate that makes us um, able to do what we do to get the kids to perform academically.
Exactly, because you do have to have that balance there, especially when sometimes your children might not be intrinsically motivated. You have to have those carrots out there that's, making them engage in it until they really intrinsically see the point. But then you have to celebrate those successes too. So you're right, Tammy, right on point. The next thing was that they wanted people to let them teach. There's just too much paperwork, and I agree, especially now that I'm at the district level. As much as we can reduce paperwork and things that just are not necessary. These massive manuals that I talk about. Who's reading this? Nobody's going to read this. We have to simplify things and make things as realistic as possible for teachers. And that has been my focus since I've gotten to the position. We got to make this real. Nobody's going to read this manual that's 3,000 pages. We have to put this in teacher friendly terms, and we got to put it where they actually can have time to put it into place with all of the other things that they're required to do. So making it realistic is something that we've definitely tried to work on. And I encourage all leaders to do that. Any process that you can put in place that can make something more efficient is definitely going to help everyone. We didn't just reduce it by one page, Josh. It was more than that. Okay, so the next thing was too many days lost for testing. And parents, we really need your help with the days lost for testing. We went through the pandemic and they had that option in South Carolina where parents could opt out of state testing, which we had a number of people opt out of state testing. I even opted out of it for my children. And a lot of people don't really see value in high stakes testing, but you don't hear that voice of the parents speaking up about why is my child being placed under this stress. And actually, with the legislature, it's my opinion that the parent voice is more influential with the legislature when it comes to state testing and high stakes testing than the educator's voice, because they don't listen to us. We have said we didn't need all of this testing for years. They've reduced it some, but they still have the bulk of it. But I think if parents knew that we needed their help and to be more vocal with that, I think we could really get a lot further with that. What do you think about that, Tammy?
I agree. I think that parents have to exercise their right to speak out about what they think is appropriate for their children. And I want to be clear, like, I want people to understand that we're not against testing, because
No.
we need assessments to make sure that we know where our children are and to monitor progress and to track growth. But what
Hmm.
we don't have to have is, as Shika said, so much in the way of high stakes testing that is only used to categorize you or to judge you against another school. We need tests that allow us to look at kids and to see where they are and what they need. So
Exactly.
I think if we could ever get that piece of the puzzle corrected, then we would see that the trajectory for schooling in America would look differently than it does. I think that's why we lag behind in um, cutting edge when
Hmm.
compared to other countries, because I think our emphasis is just in the wrong place.
It is. And we are at our time. It is time for us to get logged on with Principal Kafele. So we will do a part two to this because we are not finished. There's more that surrounds classroom management. But be sure to tune in with us on Saturdays at 10:30. We are a part of a great PLN network. Shawn Hurt starts us off at 10. We are at 10:30. Principal Kafele is at 10:55. And if you join Unlock the Middle on Sundays at 7, they have a great message with Josh, Dean, and Chris. And if you're an aspiring leader, or if you are a new principal or new assistant principal, we actually have a program where we are supporting new leaders. That's our specialty and our passion, because we needed support as new leaders. We only have a certain number of slots available for this year. So those slots are filling up quickly. If you are interested, please go to our website and fill out the form, or either email us. And if you have educators who are in your building who would aspire to be new leaders, we have a program for that as well. So continue to join in. Thank you all for tuning in with us. And please hop over to Principal Kafele's page. He has a great guest that's going to be on with him today, and we are excited to hear what they are going to be talking about.
Yes. And guys, good luck with opening up. If you open next week, we're super excited. I guess you guys hear the bell. I got people coming to school on Saturday. Um, we are very, very hopeful that everyone has an epic start. And we know that if we start strong, we finish strong. So, best wishes and prayers for a great beginning.
Definitely. Thank you, everybody.
Have a good rest of your